Hey, what is going on, everybody out there? This is Jakejames Lugo. Welcome to the channel and welcome to this brand new JJ's One Man Podcast. Hopefully, you guys have been doing all right. Hopefully, you guys have been doing well. I've been a very busy bear over here doing a lot of different content. I have a new article published on .esports. I got new content over on Confish TV, including new reviews, with some big ones coming very soon, some of which we'll get into. I was on the Senate podcast with a friend talking Star Wars and gaming. I've been busy over here. I've been doing things, okay? So if you haven't seen a lot of videos on the channel lately, that's because my time and my attention has been split amongst like 5 different ways in various capacities. So either way, I wanted to come on here and do a podcast episode, give you guys something here on the channel to listen to talk about, because there's some relevant things to discuss right now going on in gaming. Not so much in movies, thank God. At least, we could have everything be quiet until the next episode of Ahsoka comes out. Then we could start wilding out. Then we could start getting into stuff that's going on with TV and movies. And there's no big movies coming out in theaters lately, or at least, anytime soon. So I could talk about some gaming stuff exclusively in this episode. And I want to talk about Starfield. Now, there's a couple different things I want to do to approach this, right? I want to talk about a little bit about the game, because I'm going to get too much into it in my review, which will be on Clownfish TV eventually, probably in the next few days, depending on how far I get into it. In addition to that, I also want to talk about all the craziness that's been going on over social media, between a lot of the stuff involving Alana Pierce, a lot of the stuff involving all the other streamers and content creators that have been like wilding out over this game for various different reasons. Because let me tell you something, I just think that a lot of people, especially on social media, don't know how to disagree, especially about video games, let alone about any other piece of entertainment or any other topic in general. But with video games, there's a lot more hostility and a lot more volatility between people because of various opinions. And it's just baffling to me. Now, I also do want to get into a little bit of the craziness that popped up with some of the stuff involving like the character creator and stuff. You know exactly what I'm talking about. I don't need to get too crazy in depth about why that's so stupid, but we'll get to that in a second. But I do want to talk a little bit about first the game. So I've been playing this game for the better part of a couple of days, straight, because I've had a lot of time to actually dive into it. I will say that I'm getting closer to the end of it. I'm pretty sure that I have to do maybe a couple more like mainline missions and a few other things in order to roll credits on it, which will be really good. I'll be honest with you, I think that'll be great. So outside of that, I'm pretty deep into Starfield. I want to say maybe about 25 hours, give or take, probably a little bit more. I know IGN came out and said that they finished the game in about, I want to say maybe 30, 35. But either way, I'm on my way to being around that like range. So I've had a good amount of time playing this game to see what it is all about. And I will say, a lot of the reviews that I saw that were on the low end of things, surprisingly from a lot of different places, I thought was baffling. And the reason why I thought it was baffling is because a lot of the criticisms, a lot of things being brought up are either not representative of the game that I saw, that I've been playing so far, or based on things outside of the game itself. So the biggest one that I saw that was the harshest review for Starfield was the one on the Jimquisition by Sterling. Sterling, to me, was the most like egregious with the criticism, because Sterling was getting into things that had nothing to do with the game. I mean, your website, your outlet, do what you want with your content. But I think if we're going to be doing reviews out here, we need to be fair. We need to be honest. We also need to be focused on specifically the game itself. You can't hold the game accountable for things that happen outside of the game. That has nothing to do with the content of it, nothing to do with the content of that experience, what the player is actually doing. I think that taints your view and completely compromises your view on the game itself if you're getting to other things that have nothing to do with the game, or if you're talking about like the game's development and other politics and other things outside of that has nothing to do with the game itself. So you should not be talking about that in a review. I mean, your prerogative to do so, but at least that's my stance. When it comes to being fair, and if we're going to judge games and score them, that's at least where I stand on that. Now, the other thing about this, okay, I also saw a couple other outlets. They were saying like there was like 58 out of 100, 5 out of 10, 4 out of 10. It was just a little bit ridiculous to me, because it's like, even with the short time that I actually started playing Starfield, I could already tell you that it wasn't that low of a game, of an experience. Now, I'm still mulling over what I'm going to score this game. I want to at least, get to at least as close to finishing it as I possibly can before I finally write up my review. But it's definitely going to be higher than a 5 or a 6 out of 10. I'll tell you that right now. And it's not because I'm an Xbox fanboy. It's not because I love Bethesda or anything like that. Because you guys know, if you've been following me for a long time, that is definitely not the case. But what I am is real, and what I am is honest and fair. Probably sometimes, often, a little bit more fair than a lot of other outlets and individuals out here, content creators or otherwise. Because I just don't understand why everybody's dogpiling on this game so hard. Obviously, it's a very important game for Xbox fans. It's a very important game for people that are big Bethesda fans. I get all that. But on the flip side of it, this game is not perfect. This game is not a 10 out of 10. There's still problems and things that I definitely am going to address when I finally write up my review. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. I think people sometimes can be dishonest on both sides of the extremes. It's just that people really want to kind of praise this game. They want to feel like they're rolling for their clan, for their group of friends, their cliques, all this other stuff, showing their support to people that they're a big Xbox fan or a big Bethesda fan. And I think that's just as stupid as people that are just looking to dogpile on this game, looking out to dunk on this game for attention, nonetheless. There's a lot, surprisingly, with Starfield specifically, there's a lot of people that are just dunking on this game for the sake of dunking on it because they think it'll stand out amongst a lot of the crowds on social media. But regardless, though, look out for my review of this game sometime soon because I think that you're going to want to hear or at least read what I have to say about it, and you're probably going to get a lot more food for thought than a lot of the reviews I've been seeing passed around here and there. So that leads me over to some of the controversies. Okay, let's talk about the BS. Let's talk about the bullshit, okay? Let's talk about this stuff involving the pronouns on the character creator. Everybody made a big deal about this. And personally, from my stance, when it comes to issues like this, politically or whatever else, I don't really give a damn. It has nothing to do with the game itself as far as what my core experience is going to be. In an RPG, this is something I think was brought up by Chris Raygun over on Last Stand Media's Sacred Symbols. They brought up that, look, it's an RPG that you're able to make whatever type of character that you want, or at least as close as you can to whatever type of character you want. There's different ways to identify yourself in the game that you personally can do. So that's ideal for any sort of RPG, Western or JRPG or Japanese, whatever the case might be. And I think that's fair. I think that's fine. The whole choosing your pronouns thing did not bother me whatsoever. It's not a huge deal. It's probably the one time in the game, I think pretty sure a lot of other people have said this, that they've completed it, Starfield, or at least finished it by rolling credits. That's the only time in the game that ever comes up. So why is it that everybody's flipping out over this? Is it because of their own personal BS? Is it because their own nonsense, their own personal views that they're getting caught up on? What's the problem here? I don't get it. I don't understand why you have this one guy, heel versus babyface, that was wilding out over this, doing a rant, which, by the way, he looks stupid doing that. It's not that he's a bad person. I never like to think that anybody's a bad person. I never like to think that anybody's tilted or all this stuff. But in that video, he looked tilted. He looked like he was just so upset about that, and he just raged out. And it made him look worse. Because you could have a conversation about this idea of pronouns. You could have this conversation about identity. You could have a conversation about its impact or its influence on gaming as a whole. I think all that is fair. But when you start getting on a video or a stream and you start wilding out and you start screaming and trying to talk down to people or try to flip out on Bethesda because you feel there's some great injustice that's been going on over something so small, you look foolish and you completely lose everybody on your point that you're trying to make. And then what made it even worse, which that in of itself was stupid, and it wasn't bad, but it was stupid. But what made it so much worse into everything being bad was that everybody just took it and ran with it. You had one side of people that are just oh yeah, Bethesda's doing this stuff that's corrupt or quote unquote just trying to influence people getting into modern day politics or whatever else. And then on the other side of that, you have all these people are just being flimsy. It's all these quote unquote specifically colored or non-colored people that are complaining about this, specifically talking about white people, not people of color, but people they were saying a lot of white dudes were complaining about this, which was not true whatsoever. But people were just saying that for the sake of just saying that. And to me, that's dumb. Both sides of this are dumb. This should not be a hotbed issue of discussion. This should not be a controversy. What is everybody flipping out over this one thing, which, again, appeared for maybe 5 seconds in all the time that I was actually playing this game. Once I created my character, did not think about it. Nothing in the dialogue in any point of the game that I've played so far changed whatsoever or was influenced by that. Nothing ever came up about pronouns or gender politics or politics in general like that as far as modern day stuff. None of that ever came up in my playthrough. And all the time, again, I played like 25 hours of this thing. So like, what is everybody flipping out about? You know what it seems like to me? Is that there was this one thing outside of what Heels versus Babyface did, which I thought was stupid, but there was this one thing that popped up for a select group of people that just saw this as an opportunity to get under everybody's skin and to get attention at the expense of this game. Because I'll tell you right now, I don't think Bethesda deserves a lot of the heat that they're getting for this thing. I don't think that the game itself deserves a lot of the heat that people are bringing up towards it just for this one little thing. Like, this is stupid. This is honestly stupid. Where was this type of ire? If it mattered to you that much, where was this type of ire for other RPGs that probably get into similar things? Maybe not the exact same thing, but allow you to change your gender or allow you to change your physical appearance but identify as another gender or identify as another thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it just sounds so ridiculous and so stupid. Like, if it was about like a bug or something related to it that influenced the game, that like broke the game somehow, then I can understand. Be like, yo, you focused on this too much, but you didn't fix your game. That's a entirely like different conversation. But that's not what this is. This is stupid. This is dumb. This should have never been a controversy to begin with. So outside of that, however, as if the bullshit wasn't enough, as it is, we had this other thing happen to Alana Pierce, which has been ongoing for a while for her because she did a whole video. If you haven't seen it, she did a whole video talking about how people are coming at her and calling for her job, for her to be fired from Sony, which she doesn't work specifically for Sony. She works for Sony Santa Monica, you know, with that specific studio. It's not like she's working for Sony proper. It's the same studio, Santa Monica Studios, that worked on God of War. And I believe she does writing over there. But people are going at her and trying to dunk on her and call for her job simply because she was playing Starfield. Simply because she was talking about Starfield or quote-unquote promoting it, which she really wasn't. Or saying that she liked or disliked certain elements of Starfield. I'm over here coughing because I'm like talking so much, right? So there was all these different things where it's like, oh, she's not allowed to talk about games. She's not allowed to talk about other companies if she works at a particular company. It's not like she was saying anything that was like really terrible. It's not like she was going after people. She wasn't dunking on Pete Hines or anybody or Todd Howard. She was not saying like, yo, fix your damn game. Be like more like God of War. Like, I mean, come on. Like, some of this sounds so ridiculous. Like, it's stupid enough for people to say like, oh, you should lose your job because you were playing video games or you're playing a quote-unquote competitor's video game. That in and of itself is stupid. But to call for them to be fired in general just for, you know, indulging in any sort of game whatsoever that's not their own company's is ridiculous in of itself. Like she said, I've met people that are very similar to this that are in the industry. Whenever I've gone to E3, whenever I've gone to PAX, whenever I've gone to other studios to visit them, to check out their games, developers all over, even PR people, even biz dev people, everybody in the industry plays video games in some capacity. They play a variety of video games, even ones that their companies do not make. I know that sounds shocking to some of you out there on social media, but that is 100% the truth. 145% the truth, and then some. Okay, that's how true it is. The point is that there's a lot of people that are in the games industry that love video games and play all types of games. So why are you going to hold that against them? Why are you going to go at Alana Pierce for playing Starfield, talking about Starfield on her channel, by the way, on her streams and stuff, just because she worked on God of War? Like, are you that lost in the nonsense, in the bullshit of fanboyism or console wars, quote unquote? A lot of stupid phrases, a lot of stupid terms, and I don't like using them often, but it's true. Some people just make their whole personality, their whole existence on social media related to one of those things. Because if they're not rolling for their clan or rolling for their people, they have no other meaning or relevance on social media. Or at least they want to get like addicted to this idea of like validation from a group of people that aren't really their friends, that are just people that are just trying to rah-rah and get under other people's skin. Like, it sounds so ridiculous. It sounds so juvenile. It sounds so dumb. It sounds so stupid. It has no relevance to the experience of Starfield. Like, why are we all like making this a big deal? Why are we making this the topic of conversation on social media for like a week straight, if not longer? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it sounds so ridiculous. It sounds so stupid. It sounds so off pocket or like just, again, it's so outlandish. Even thinking about it back now, like all the videos coming out, like complaining about this. You know, talking about what's going on with Alana Pierce, talking about the pronouns thing, dunking on Starfield because certain aspects aren't perfect. It's like, come on now. You're not even being critical and fair. You're just trying to be that guy. Nobody wants to be that guy, right? That guy that's always being a problem, that's always getting under people's skin, jabbing at people, always causing controversy, always causing nonsense. Like, come on. Do not be that guy. That should be the tagline or a motto put on like one of those frames, like one of those motivational posters or something. Do not be that guy. It's just a picture of Starfield, right? Or no, just a picture of someone raging on a keyboard. Because if you put a picture of Starfield, it's gonna be like, don't be that guy that's a fan of Starfield. That's not what I'm saying. Don't take that and run with it. Okay. All I'm saying is that stop being ridiculous on social media. Stop looking for problems where no problems exist and making mountains out of molehills. Stop trying to jab at people for liking games that you probably don't like or you have issues or difference in opinions with. And stop trying to take people down just for simply indulging in the gaming medium. That's again, all these things should be common sense. All these things should be smart stuff, or at least, fair things that everybody could get behind. But alas, everybody, or at least a good chunk of people, is so addicted to the nonsense on social media or the nonsense through content creation or streaming and such that we all get caught up in this mess at some point. It's stupid. Rather than playing Starfield, y'all are complaining about Starfield, and some of you didn't even play. Like, real talk, I even say this about some of the reviews. It feels like some of y'all didn't even play this. Because if I could see certain things in there that are not matching up to what you're saying about the game, and I wasn't playing the game for so long like that should say everything about your review or your assessment of this game. And I think that's not fair. Like, we complain about this type of thing about games not being treated fairly whenever like a big Sony exclusive comes out, whenever a big Nintendo game comes out, that we say that there's a bias and stuff. But, this is the same thing here and everybody wants to flip on that. Like, come on. Not only where's the consistency, where's the fairness? You know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying. Be fair, be honest, be genuine. Don't be like one of these fools out here that's just trying to dunk on something for the sake of dunking on it, thinking that they accomplished something. I'm just saying. Either way, I know that's a lot to indulge with Starfield. That's a lot of talk with it. I thought this was probably going to go on a little bit longer than I initially thought. Because again, not really much happening right now. There's been some news pieces in the games industry. We finally got that video of, Miyamoto and Charles Martinet talking about the voice of Mario stuff. That Charles Martinet is going to be a brand ambassador for Mario moving forward. Much props to him. That guy has done a great service to the games industry for many years. I believe it's 25 years now at this point. I could be wrong on the timing. I know I wrote about it for Clownfish, but still. The man has done a lot of stuff. Give the man his props, for God's sake. Okay? Same thing with Miyamoto. Now, besides that, nothing much else really going on. I'm pretty sure something else will pop up very soon. Mortal Kombat 1 is coming around the corner. The one thing I will say about Mortal Kombat 1, I will mention very briefly because don't really need to get into it. The leaks and the spoilers that are going around, there are some people that are just blatant about this. And while spoilers don't really bother me, it's the idea that you go out of your way to get a game early, which, by the way, the person that's been streaming it on Facebook and a few other places, I think even on Twitter, just spoiling straight up the story mode, the arcade endings, the roster, a lot of the gameplay and stuff. That person's an asshole, but also they're so blatant that they're doing that and they've yet to get called out on it, or at least yet to face consequences for it. Because it seems like to me that they got that from a GameStop. That somebody had given them that and they broke street date. Like, straight up. I really believe that's the case. And I really do hope that NetherRealm at some point, when they see that stuff, they copyright strike all their things. Because you're not only breaking street date, but you're being an asshole by making fun of that. By poking at other content creators and other people online. I saw this from one of the pages that's doing that. To me, that's ridiculous. Like, that type of stuff shouldn't be allowed. Because if you end up getting it early somehow, nobody can really stop you from playing it. Technically, Sony can or Microsoft could, depending on what platform that you play it on. But I think that if you get it early somehow or get some sort of game early like that, you shouldn't go around bragging about it because eventually that's going to come around and bite you in the ass. Whether it's your job or whether it's your actual account getting in trouble. Like, at some point, consequences should come around and affect you for that, especially if you're being a jerk about it. But I digress. Not going to discuss any spoilers with that game. I will say that with .esports, I'm going to be writing a bunch of stuff about Mortal Kombat 1, and I'm pretty sure I'm probably going to review it for Clownfish TV, and I'll probably do some videos for the channel. But yeah, be on the lookout for that stuff because it's right around the corner. I think it's next week or the week after. Very, very soon. I can't wait to check it out. I can't wait to play Mortal Kombat 1 because the game looks hype. The game looks dope. But anyway, Those are my thoughts about this week's episode of involving gaming stuff here on the podcast. Let me know some of your thoughts about all this stuff down below in the comment section. Are you playing Starfield right now? Do you feel a certain type of way about Starfield right now? Are you looking forward to Mortal Kombat 1? What other gaming stuff do you guys want to talk about? Discuss it in the comment section down below. Keep it civil. But let me know what stuff you guys want to talk about, what you guys want to discuss. Leave a like on this video. Of course, as always, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because again, a lot of content that's on here right now, a lot of YouTube shorts, a lot of videos, a lot of podcasts, bunch of stuff that I know you guys are going to get a kick out of. And be on the lookout for the rest of the stuff I'm doing on TikTok. Look for my stuff over on .esports, Clownfish TV, and a bunch of other places. With that being said, I will talk to all of you again very soon. Peace out, and stay epic, everybody.